Hey guys, it's Faye and this is Day with Faye. Today I am going to be reviewing 23andMe and showing you exactly what you get and showing you my results too. Hope you guys enjoy. As always, there are timestamps in the description below if there's a specific piece of information that you're looking for. So there are two types of 23andMe tests that you can get. You can get the Ancestry and then you can also get the Ancestry plus the Health. I actually got the Ancestry plus the Health one. Right now, the Ancestry plus Health is valued at $199 and the Ancestry only is $99. I will have you guys know that I actually got it 50% off through Amazon Prime on Prime Day. So the Ancestry plus Health was actually $100 for me and the Ancestry only was $50. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out for deals. I don't know if they do this regularly or if maybe it's on Cyber Monday or anything like that, but just keep your eyes peeled. So I'm actually gonna show you guys the results that I got through the app and it's gonna show up on the screen here as I do it. So I've seen these results before, so it's not like a first impression thing. It's kind of just like, I'm just showing you what I learned, and a lot of it is cool. A lot of the things I had no idea I was. Actually, let me just show you what the Ancestry report is like. So if you just want to get Ancestry only, this is the only thing you're gonna get. My Ancestry Composition is typically why people get the Ancestry test. So I actually just sent my saliva in and waited about a month and a half for my results to come in, and I also elected for them to tell me if they have new tests or anything like that they can store my DNA sample and just test it and let me know what my results are. So I'm gonna hit Ancestry, and my Ancestry Composition is, so I obviously knew that I was gonna be Irish and I knew I was gonna have some sort of Native American because my dad is Irish. My mom is Venezuelan, so I knew that I was gonna have some Native American, probably some Spain, some British/Irish, I knew that was gonna happen. So I hit up European, 77.5%. No surprise, that totally makes sense. 24.8% British and Irish, makes sense again, it says Ireland. Oh, and actually now they say the actual country below it, they keep updating new things. The Iberian Peninsula, 15.2%, which makes total sense because again, since my mom is Venezuelan, there definitely has been some mixing between the conquistadores and the Native Americans, so that makes sense. And then I'm 6.4% Balkan, or specifically from Greece. Again, that makes sense because I heard that I do have some Greek in me. And then 3.0% Eastern European. I don't know what that's about. 1.2% Italian. Dude, some of these are new, so I'm actually am learning new things, so that's kind of cool. Whoa! Okay, sorry, I haven't looked at these results in a really long time, and now they've added the countries from where you're from, so this is kind of new. So I'm 1.2% Italian. I didn't know, that's kind of cool. I didn't know I had any Italian in me. 1.0% French and German, and then 0.4% Ashkenazi Jewish, which is cool. And then 14.4% broadly Southern European, 4.6% broadly Northwestern European, and 6.6% broadly European. And from what I got from the gist of it, so you can actually click it and it'll tell you Southern European, including the Iberian, Italian, and Balkan peninsulas, as well as the island of Malta, is a region defined in great part by the Mediterranean Sea. It's kind of a general, they haven't been able to assign the specific country that your DNA is from, so they just put it in a broad category. At least that seems to be what my understanding is of it. Okay, so next is East Asian and Native American, and I'm 11.7%, which again makes sense. But one thing that's cool is that now it says Native American 10.6%, and underneath it says Venezuela. So I know that I wasn't adopted. You know how you kind of have that strange feeling maybe I'm adopted. Okay, I'm not. And then 0.1% broadly East Asian, which is this region, and then 1.1% broadly East Asian and Native American. So yeah, that's really cool. So now the thing that really freaking blew my mind was Sub-Saharan African. Now most people who are my color are typically less than 0.1%. So when I saw this percent, I was like, what? That is so cool. So I'm 6.9% Sub-Saharan African, 5.4% West African, and 0.2% African hunter-gatherer. Okay, that's new. I haven't seen that before. It just tells you so much information, so you can really get to understand where you're from. So it says today many African Americans are descendants of enslaved Western Africans who were transported to North America between the 16th and 19th centuries. My kind of theory was that I have West African descendants because they were in part of the slave trade. I read that Venezuela was a port for slaves. The term Afro-Venezuelan refers to Venezuelans of African descent. They are mostly descendants of enslaved Africans brought to the Western Hemisphere by John Hawkins and Sir Francis Drake during the Atlantic slave trade. This makes me feel like super happy because I'm so like multicultural and I'm like the definition of a melting pot. But then at the same time, it makes me really sad because it's like my multicultural bringing in a lot of ways comes from really sad parts. And I have to assume if there's like mixing of like Native Americans with colonials and colonials with slaves or vice versa, that there was some sort of like abuse of power, probably, like, I don't know. There's an ugly past to my history. And then there's Western Asian and Northern African, which I'm 0.5%. Northern African, I'm 0.2%, and broadly Western Asian and Northern African, I'm 0.3%. I have 3.4% that is unassigned to me. Okay, next you do your DNA family. So if you so choose, you can elect to be notified if you have any relatives that are like second cousins, third cousins, or anything of that nature, which I thought was pretty cool. That being said, probably because some sort of colonial person was like, let me rape and pillage all these people, I probably have like a bunch of relatives. So yeah, I have 1,059 DNA relatives. I have 0 close family to second cousins, but I have 756 third to fourth cousins and many fifth to distant cousins. And it tells me where most of my relatives live. I have 45 that live in Florida apparently and 100 in California. Hey, hit me up. Also with your ancestry group, you get your maternal haplogroup, which is if you're a woman, if you're a male, you get your maternal and your paternal. Lucky those. My maternal haplogroup is A2. As our ancestors ventured out of Eastern Africa, they branched off in diverse groups that crossed and recrossed the globe over tens of thousands of years. Some of their migrations can be traced through haplogroups, families of lineages that descend from a common ancestor. Your maternal haplogroup can reveal the path followed by the women of your maternal line. If every person living today could trace his or her maternal line back over thousands of generations, all of our lines would meet at a single woman who lived in Eastern Africa between 150,000 and 200,000 years ago. That's crazy. Though she was one of perhaps thousands of women alive at the time, only the diverse branches of her haplogroup have survived today. What? Okay. The story of your maternal line begins with her. You could spend literally like 2 hours just reading through all this stuff, but I'm kind of just giving a general overview. It also says your Neanderthal Ancestry, and apparently I have 233 Neanderthal variants, which is less than 91% of the customers there, and it only accounts for less than 4% of my overall DNA. And it says some traits have been influenced by Neanderthal variants, like straight hair. No. Oh, if you're less likely to sneeze after eating dark chocolate. People sneeze after eating dark chocolate? Less back hair. Oh, I was about to say I have no back hair, so, and I have that variant, okay, and then height. And then your paternal haplogroup, which again, I'm pretty sure I can't have until I report a father or brother to trace my paternal line ancestry, and I cannot do that. So that's all that comes with the ancestry portion of your genes. I found this really awesome. I kind of can learn more about where I come from. I feel like I learned a little bit more than what my family knew, so that's kind of cool. So then we hit carrier status reports, which is part of the health part of the exam. And so basically you learn whether you have a specific genetic variant that may not affect your health, but could affect your children's health. So I was really terrified when I got this portion of the test. I was like, oh God, I hope I don't have anything. But at the end of the day, if you do have something, it's better to know you have it and prepare for it. You know what I'm saying? So there was a new test that I didn't know about, but I actually didn't get any of the I had no genetic markers that were detected for any of these. So they test for all of this because I can't pronounce most of these. Like I said, it tests for a lot of stuff, so I think it's great, especially if you're thinking about having kids, kind of knowing if you have any genetic markers to be prepared for. Then there's also genetic health risk reports, which is to learn whether you have a specific genetic variant that can influence your risk for certain health conditions. So they have variants not detected for Parkinson's disease, late onset Alzheimer's, hereditary thrombophilia, hereditary hemochromatosis, celiac disease, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, and apparently I have an increased risk for something that I haven't seen before, and it's age-related macular degeneration. So I'm freaking out. Age-related macular degeneration is the most common cause of irreversible vision loss among older adults. The disease results in damage to the central part of the retina, the macula, impairing vision needed for reading, driving, or even recognizing faces. This test includes the two most common variants associated with an increased risk of developing the condition. Phaedra, you have both of the genetic variants we tested. Okay. That's kind of scary, although I don't know anybody personally in my life that lost their vision. People with this result have an increased risk of developing AMD. Lifestyle and other factors can also affect your risk. It does not diagnose you or any other of your health conditions. Please talk to a healthcare professional if this condition runs in your family, you think you might have this condition, or you have any concerns about your results. But there are lifestyle and other factors that can influence the chances of developing AMD, which is smoking. I don't smoke, so I'm good. Age, the risk of developing this increases greatly as a person ages. The condition is rarely diagnosed in people under age of 50. Over the age of 80, 2 to 14% of people have AMD, depending on ethnicity. Parents, siblings, and children of an individual with AMD have a higher chance of developing it themselves, which I don't know anybody in my family who has it. People of European descendants are more likely to develop AMD than people of African, Hispanic, and Asian descent. And diet, you need to try to have a healthy diet that benefits the eyes, emphasizing the consumption of dark leafy vegetables, citrus fruits, nuts, and whole grains, and consuming healthy fats found in fish, nuts, and olive oil, and minimizing saturated and trans fat are also important. Oh my god, like, I'm just gonna eat an all green, healthy fat like diet now. I actually kind of wanted to eat healthier, so this motivates me even more. That is kind of crazy. I didn't know about it, and that's why I have it stored so that when they have new tests, I can learn about things, and if I hadn't had it stored, I wouldn't have known that I would have age-related macular degeneration, like an increased risk. So it's good to know. Wow, I totally thought that I knew everything coming onto this test, and I didn't, but it's okay. Again, like, I don't have it, but I'm gonna take the steps necessary to prevent me getting it and just continue living a healthy lifestyle. So traits reports. This is kind of weird. So I think that the traits reports is just through the health section and not the ancestry section. This stuff is so weird, but it's so interesting to me. We'll start at the bottom. Widow's peak, it says most likely no widow's peak. I kind of have a low-key one, not a very pronounced one. So when you go to that, so that doesn't mean like what they say you have is what you have. It just says kind of the possibility of you having it. Like, for example, it says my genetic likelihood is 71% no widow's peak, 29% widow's peak. And since I have one, I had 29% odds of getting it, and I got it. And then it says unibrow, and it says likely little or no unibrow. I've been waxed recently, but I would say that I have little unibrow, not fully pronounced or anything like that. So it says 88% little to no unibrow, 49% specifically little unibrow, which is what I have, and then 12% moderate to thick unibrow. So then toe length ratio, which is kind of weird. I'm likely to have a longer big toe than a second toe, and that is 56% likely. That is true, my big toe is bigger than my second toe. That was weird. And then sweet taste, it determines if you're likely to like salt versus sweet things. And it says that 52% prefers salty, and it's pretty much like 50-50, but it is true, I'm not really a sweet person. And then skin pigmentation, likely to have lighter skin. That's true. 96% chance to have lighter skin, which is kind of crazy, and 4% to have darker skin, which is kind of insane. So if I came out darker skin, it would have been just a 1% chance, but it could have happened. It says very fair, moderately fair, light beige. I'm probably very fair, and that's 39%, and that's my highest likelihood. Red hair, likely to have no red hair. This is actually my natural hair color, so that is true. It did say, however, a 5% chance to have red hair, so that's weird to think that I could have come out with red hair. And then photic sneeze reflex, which means when you look at the sun, you sneeze. And I don't have that, and it does say that 55% chance to not have that. That is correct. Newborn hair amount, likely little baby hair. I don't really know how remember how I looked like as a baby. I think I did have little baby hair. Here's a picture. Yeah, I have little baby hair. And then light or dark hair. I would say my hair is dark. Not black, but dark brown. And it says 78% chance light hair, with 10% chance being light blonde. What the heck? I could have come out with light blonde hair, it would have been a 10% chance. That's crazy. And 35% dark blonde, no. Light brown, 33%, dark brown, 21%. I would say I'm like between light and dark. Hair curliness, this one blew my mind. It said that I was likely to have straight or wavy hair. This is not straight or wavy hair, like at all. 28% chance to have curly hair. 28! And I have curly hair. And it's really funny because most of my family does not have curly hair. And that's why I always thought I was low-key adopted, because I was like, why does no one have curly hair like me? Everyone has like wavy hair, straight hair. I don't know if it's because they, put keratin in their hair all the time or what, but that was kind of crazy to me. And I have 28% chance of curly hair. And I would say I have small curls, and that's 10% chance. So that's crazy. And 9% chance to have straight hair, 34% to have slightly wavy. What? Crazy. And then it says freckles. I'm likely to have a lot of freckles somewhere on my body. And I don't know what a lot is, but yeah, I do have freckles on my nose, I have freckles on my shoulders, and a little bit on my knees. But I wouldn't say like I'm covered, but it was like a 42% for little freckling, so I don't know. Finger length ratio, I'm likely to have a longer ring finger than an index finger. 57% likely. I don't know. It seems like my index finger is longer. And then it says earwax type. Are you likely to have wet earwax or dry earwax, which is kind of weird, but wet earwax is 91%, and apparently dry earwax is something that happens mainly in East Asian descent, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is a thing, so it's kind of cool. Okay, so I was just editing this video and I realized I forgot 2 of the traits from the traits report, and one of those was eye color. For eye color, it says that I'm likely to have dark color eyes, which makes sense. I had 95% probability for that, and I would say I have like dark brown eyes, and that was 75% chance of that happening, so that's very true. And then the other one that I forgot to talk about was earlobe type, which says I'm likely to have detached earlobes, and that was a 65% chance. I actually do have attached earlobes, and if you don't know what that is, here's a little diagram for you. And then cleft chin, it said likely no cleft chin. I have a cleft chin! And that's like 17% chance to have cleft chin, which I'm pretty sure is a butt chin, yeah. So this baby went against all odds. And then cheek dimples, it says likely to have none. I don't have any, so that was right. It was 58% chance to not have dimples. And then bitter taste, basically it says I'm likely to not taste certain bitter compounds. 65% likely to not taste bitter compounds. I don't know what that means. And then asparagus odor detection, which is I'm likely to be able to smell the asparagus metabolite in my pee, and it's a 59% chance. And I haven't had asparagus in a while, so I'm just gonna trust it. This is the last one, which is your wellness report, which also comes with the health. Like, there's so much that comes with health. I really recommend getting it. So saturated fat and weight, I'm likely to have similar weight. My weight is likely to be similar on diets high or low in saturated fat with the same number of total calories. Thanks, genes. And then this one makes me laugh. It says that my genetic muscle composition is common in elite power athletes, which I thought was funny because I'm not really like sporty or anything like that. But the role for non-elite athletes isn't completely understood, and I'm not an elite athlete, or maybe I haven't given myself enough effort. And then it says, are you likely tolerant to be lactose intolerant? And it says I'm likely tolerant, and I don't agree with that. And then it says I'm less likely to be a deep sleeper. I completely agree. I'm a very, very light sleeper, so. And then caffeine consumption, I don't know how they can predict this. I'm sure I could read a lot into it, but it says I'm likely to drink slightly less caffeine than average if I drink caffeine at all. And I don't drink coffee at all. Like if I do have anything with caffeine, it'll be soda, which I have on rare occasions, or tea, which has a lot less caffeine than coffee, but I never crave it, I never need it. And then alcohol flush reaction, which again, I've heard is really common in Asian descendants. It's just saying that you get red after you drink a small amount of alcohol, and I don't. For sleep movement, it says that I'm likely to move more than average during sleep. I don't know about that. Again, I feel like I'm pretty stationary. And then genetic weight was saying that my genes predispose me to weigh about 11% less than average, which is crazy. So I have a lot to digest a little bit. I'm gonna have to learn more about age-related macular degeneration. But other than that, I really do think it's worth it, especially the health. Like if I didn't get the health, I wouldn't have known about this. And if I didn't elect to have them keep my DNA sample, I wouldn't have known about my risk of age-related macular degeneration. So I'm really happy I did that, even though it's kind of like unsettling and I feel like I need to step up my health game. Anyways, yeah, I really think that it's worth it. I think it's really fun, and I think that you learn a lot about yourself in the process. And I'm excited to make my fiance do it one of these days. Maybe I'll do it for like his birthday present or something. Thanks guys, I hope you have a good rest of your day. If this was informational for you, please make sure to like it, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. I try to post videos every Wednesday and Friday. Sometimes they show up on Thursday instead because I got a little bit busy with stuff. So thanks, bye!